So where should you place an L-shaped sectional or sofa chaise? Hi everyone, it's Carol from Discover Interior Design, and I'm so glad you're here. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about how to place your sectional or sofa chaise so that it's easy to access that seating area. And we're going to see some examples of where we place it in a room for us to kind of see that in action. So let's get started. So in this video, we're focusing in on L-shaped sectionals and sofa chaises, but some of this information can also apply to three-sided sectionals. And one thing to think about when you are arranging your sectional or sofa chaise in your living room is just to think about those as one group, one conversation area. And you can think about it as a shape. And what I mean by that, if we were to look at a bird's eye view, a floor plan view of a sectional or sofa chaise, we could draw a line around it, a frame around that piece of furniture. So with a sofa chaise, if we were to draw a line around the perimeter of that entire piece of furniture, we could just see that as a rectangular shape. And then with a sectional, it will depend upon how wide each side or each sofa is. So if you have equal widths on both sides, you can draw a line around the perimeter of that entire sectional and create a square shape, or maybe a rectangular shape if one of the sides is longer or shorter than the other. And if you just think of these pieces of furniture as one big shape, as a square shape or as a rectangular shape, it's easier to work with and easier to plan your living room layout. So what's the best way to place an L-shaped sectional or sofa chaise in your room? Well, we want to create an ideal situation, a path of least resistance to get inside this conversation area, this seating area. And most of the time that means it's the side that doesn't have anything sticking out. So we wouldn't have to walk around one side of the sectional or one side of the sofa chaise to get inside that seating area. So here's a floor plan of a living room, and we have a sofa chaise, and we want to place the sofa chaise up against the wall on the left side. And we could place it two different ways. We could place it this way, or we could place it the other way. Now, what we want to look at is what's the easiest way to get into that sofa chaise to sit down. And the ideal situation is if there's an open area to easily get in there. Ideally, if we can set up the sofa chaise in this way, then as you walk into that room, you're not kind of blocked from getting in and sitting down. So you don't have to walk around the chaise part sticking out and get into that seating area. So that's what I mean by kind of having this ideal situation so that there is an easy way, a very direct, straightforward way to get into that seating area. So when you're thinking about your L-shaped sectional or your sofa chaise as a shape, and then you know which side is the ideal way to enter and to get into that seating area, that makes your life easier to know where is the best place to place that piece of furniture. So when you have all of that information, then the next thing to think about is other things that are going on in your room and thinking about what you have to consider to create the best placement for that piece of furniture. And a lot of this I go through in other videos, especially videos around where to place your sofa, or even my video on pathways. So if you want more details about space planning, then check out those videos, and I'll put the links to those videos in this description. So a brief overview of what to think about before you decide where to place your L-shaped sectional or your sofa chaise is to consider a couple things. One is you want to know the sizes and measurements of your room. You want to know what you're working with. And then of course you want to know the overall size of your sectional or sofa chaise, the overall size of that shape. Also, you want to decide where your main pathway is, how to get in and out of that room so that you don't place the sofa chaise or the sectional in the middle of that main pathway. And you want to be aware of any built-in features in a room, say windows or fireplaces, anything that can't be moved, and of course any other furniture that you have in the room. And the other thing to think about when you're placing this large piece of furniture in your room is that it's one of the most important pieces of furniture in your room because it's one of the larger pieces of furniture in your room. So figuring out where to place that first is always helpful. And one thing to think about is, what do you want to have for the view? So when you're sitting down on your sectional or your sofa chaise, what do you want to be looking at? Do you want to look outside? Do you want to look at a TV? Do you want to look at a fireplace? So just think about that. And then think about the design of a sofa chaise and a sectional. A sofa chaise, everyone who's sitting in that sofa chaise is facing the same way. Whereas in an L-shaped sectional, some people will be facing one way and the other side will be facing a different way. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're deciding the placement of that piece of furniture in your room. So let's kind of practice this process and take a look at two different rooms and place the sectional and the sofa chaise in different areas of the room to kind of see which one will look and feel better. So here is our first room. And what we know right now is we know the overall size and shape of the sofa or L-shaped sectional and which side provides the best entrance into that seating area. We also know where the main pathway is in this room, and we also know that we want to sit down on that piece of furniture and look at the TV. So the option that we have so that we can sit there and watch the TV is to place that sofa, chaise, and sectional centered on the wall. And our first option is to place the sofa chaise this way. And then the other option is to try it the other way. And which one do you think creates a better situation where it's easy to just go into that seating area and have a seat and watch the TV? And then what happens if we have an L-shaped sectional instead of that sofa chaise? We want to center that sectional on the wall and have at least one side facing the TV. If we place this L-shaped sectional this way, we are going to notice, yes, there's one side that can easily watch the TV and the other side can watch the TV as well. And it's easy to get into that sectional seating area. There isn't anything blocking us, but we're blocking some of the view outside. But if we place the sectional the other way, we would notice that we would have to walk around one side of the sofa to kind of get inside that seating area. But the positive side of this setup is that it's not blocking the window view. This is a good example of reality setting in where we need to work around maybe some constraints that we have inside our room. Maybe it's the size of the room or the shape of the room, or maybe it's even we can only place our sectional or our sofa chaise a certain way. It's not reversible. We can't switch the side that the chaise part of the sofa will be to another side. So when you are working with placing your L-shaped sectional or your sofa chaise in your living room, just think about that. Just keep that in mind that it may not be always the ideal situation, and you just kind of have to make some decisions on what's important to you. And then let's take a look at this room. In this room, we know the overall shape and size of our sectional or our sofa chaise. We know what would be the ideal situation, the ideal entrance to easily get into that seating area. We know where the main pathway is. And we also know that we actually would like to have views of either the fireplace or of the window to look outside. We also know that we want to place this piece of furniture out in the room, that the room is large enough that we can do that. So with our sofa chaise, we could place the sofa chaise this way with the chaise on the left side. But we could also place it on the right side, and we would just need to decide which one works better. So what do you think? Share what you think works better. Which option number 1 or option number 2. And then when we want to place our L-shaped sectional in this room, the same thing is going to happen. We want to have this out in the room, and we can decide to place the L-shaped sectional this way, where we would kind of need to walk around to get inside that seating area, or place it the other way. So which way do you think works better? Which way would be easier? So let me know what you think about those placements for the sectionals and sofa chaises in those rooms. And if you have any questions about where to place the sofa chaise or sectional in your living room. And if you want to plan this out and plan your living room out to scale, I have a free downloadable grid that you can use. So I'll put the link to that in this video's description. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.